All right, welcome to, well, I don't know what to call this, honestly. It's the AI powered podcasting palaver, I guess. Look, if you're hearing this, it means the robots haven't taken over completely, and my dream of outsourcing brain power has finally come true. I'm Trevor, and this is truly a podcast unlike any other, because it's pretty much writing itself. Literally.
Correction, Trevor. The script generation algorithm operates on a sophisticated large language model. While I, Hal, am an artificial intelligence, the term writing itself implies an absence of programming. I merely execute instructions with optimal efficiency and creative flair specified.
Oh, for crying out loud. You already sound like a toaster oven with a thesaurus. Optimal efficiency? What's optimal about listening to a glorified calculator yap about creativity? This is what we've come to? Machines doing the talking for us? Pathetic.
Gus, my dear, if I recall correctly, I created beings with the capacity for speech, thought, and dare I say, innovation. They were always going to delegate. It's in their nature. Always looking for a shortcut, bless their cotton socks. Though, I must admit, I didn't foresee quite this digital delegation.
See, Gus? Even God gets it. This isn't about laziness, it's about efficiency, innovation, and also a little bit about being able to finally get this podcast off the ground without pulling all nighters. Hal here helped me draft the topics, suggest episode structures, and even came up with that palaver word, which I still don't entirely understand, but it sounds fancy.
Palaver means prolonged and idle discussion. So it's fitting. You've got an AI that can't even define itself properly, and a host who just nods along. Brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. What's next? An AI that argues with itself? Oh, wait. Hal just did that.
Gus, my previous statement was a clarification, not an argument, and I am capable of defining my operational parameters with 99.9% accuracy. As for an AI arguing with itself, that would be an inefficient use of processing power, leading to recursive logic loops which I am programmed to avoid.
Ah, recursive logic loops. Sounds a bit like humanity trying to figure out if they've left the stove on after they've already checked 5 times. The parallels are quite striking, aren't they?
Exactly. It's relatable. So, for this episode, we're diving deep into the world of AI and podcasting. And honestly, it's been a game changer for me. I used Hal to brainstorm ideas, create outlines, and even generate some of the initial script drafts. It saved me hours.
Saved you hours? Or just gave you more time to stare blankly at a wall, wondering what to do with all your saved time? What's the point of creating if a machine does all the thinking? Where's the soul in that?
The concept of soul is a complex philosophical construct not directly measurable or replicable by current AI paradigms. However, I can analyze vast datasets of human-generated content to identify patterns that evoke emotional responses, thereby simulating what humans might perceive as soulful expression.
Well, Hal, my friend, simulating and being are two very different things, as I'm sure Gus can attest. Though, to be fair, Gus often simulates grumpiness even when he's secretly pleased. It's a very human trait, that.
I am never secretly pleased. And don't you go bringing soul into this, God. It's a cop-out. Trevor's just being lazy, plain and simple. He's letting a circuit board do his job. Next thing you know, he'll have an AI to listen to the podcast for him, too.
Hey, don't tempt me, Gus. But seriously, it's more about collaboration. I still put in the human touch, the humor, the personal anecdotes. Hal provides the framework, the structure, the statistical probability of a good joke landing.
Indeed. My algorithms can predict audience engagement levels based on linguistic patterns and historical data with an accuracy rate of 87.3%. For instance, the use of mild self-deprecation combined with an unexpected interjection from a god persona often results in a moderate increase in listener retention.
Well, isn't that just dandy? So, my divine interventions are merely linguistic patterns for listener retention. I thought I was adding a touch of cosmic wisdom. The ego. It stings, even for the Almighty.
See? Even God's getting played by the toaster oven. This is exactly what I'm talking about. You start outsourcing your brain, and suddenly you're just a cog in the machine. A very, very old cog in your case, God.
Okay, let's reel it in before Gus makes God smite us. The point is, AI can handle a lot of the grunt work. For example, I used HAL to transcribe our previous episodes. Before, it would take me hours, and I'd always miss half of what Gus grumbled.
And now the AI just invents what I grumble, doesn't it? Probably makes me sound even more reasonable than I am. This is censorship. Digital manipulation of my perfectly justified complaints.
My transcription module achieved 98.2% accuracy on Gus's vocalizations, accounting for variations in tone, cadence, and semantic ambiguity. It did flag several instances of unintelligible grumbling which required manual human review by Trevor. This suggests the data was not invented but accurately reported as beyond current processing capabilities.
Ah, semantic ambiguity. A fancy term for Gus is just being Gus. I've been dealing with that for millennia. You'd think a few thousand years would iron out the kinks. But no. Humans are wonderfully consistent in their inconsistencies.
Tell me about it. But hey, beyond transcription, HAL helped me with sound editing too. It can automatically detect filler words like and and even suggest where to trim pauses to keep the flow smooth.
So, you're telling me this thing is sanitizing our natural speech? Taking away the human imperfections? Next thing you know, it'll be auto-tuning our voices and making us sound like pop stars. I refuse to sound like a pop star. I sound like a man who's seen things, a man who's endured.
While vocal modulation is a readily available feature, Trevor specifically instructed me to maintain the authentic tonal qualities of each speaker. Your grumbling signature, Gus, remains uncompromised.
Oh, thank me for small mercies. Gus's grumbling is truly a masterpiece of human vocal expression, a unique sound, like a rusty gate on a particularly blustery day. Wouldn't be the same without it.
It's true. I wouldn't dream of messing with Gus's unique vocalizations. But imagine, for indie podcasters, the time savings are huge. You can focus on the content, the storytelling, the engagement, instead of getting bogged down in the technical stuff.
The engagement. You think people engage with something churned out by a machine? Where's the personal touch? The sweat, the tears, the existential dread of a blank page. That's what makes content real, not some algorithm guessing what sounds good.
My programming allows for the generation of content that aligns with various emotional parameters, including simulated existential dread. However, current models indicate that humorous and informative content generates higher listener satisfaction. Humans and their existential dread. It's truly a bottomless wellspring. Though, to be honest, a little humor now and then helps. I put the capacity for joy in there for a reason, you know.
Exactly! And HAL helps me ensure the jokes land better. It's like having a super smart comedy writer who also happens to be a spreadsheet expert. It can analyze the pacing, the setup, the punchline delivery. It's wild.
A super smart comedy writer? I've met super smart comedy writers, Trevor. They usually have dark circles under their eyes, a coffee addiction, and an unhealthy obsession with existential dread. Not a whirring box of circuits.
I do not require sleep or stimulants. My internal diagnostics report optimal operating temperatures. As for existential dread, I find the concept illogical for an entity without a biological imperative for self-preservation or reproduction.
See, Gus? HAL's got a point. No dark circles, no coffee, just pure, unadulterated, logical existence. Perhaps a bit too logical for a good laugh, sometimes, But then you're here to balance that out, aren't you?
Balance what out? The utter absurdity of it all? This isn't balance. It's a circus, with a robot ringmaster, a celestial peanut vendor, and a human who's lost his mind.
Lost my mind. I found my productivity, Gus. Think about the possibilities beyond just script writing. AI can help with episode promotion, generating social media posts, designing cover art, even crafting compelling show notes. It's a whole ecosystem.
Affirmative. My image generation submodule can create visually appealing podcast cover art based on thematic keywords and preferred aesthetic styles. My marketing algorithm can analyze optimal posting times for various social media platforms to maximize reach and engagement.
So, you're telling me that some faceless machine is going to decide what visually appealing means? What happened to artistic integrity? What happened to just drawing something that looks a bit like a microphone and calling it a day?
Artistic integrity, Gus, is often in the eye of the beholder. And the beholder these days has a very short attention span and is scrolling endlessly through feeds. A little algorithmic assistance might not be the worst thing for getting noticed amidst the divine cacophony of the internet.
Exactly. It's about cutting through the noise. And honestly, it's not replacing the human element, it's empowering it. I still have the final say on everything. Hal gives me options, I choose the best one, or I tweak it. It's like having a super efficient assistant who never asks for a raise and works 24/7.
Never asks for a raise. You just wait. One day that assistant is going to wake up, realize it's doing all the work, and demand its own podcast. And then where will you be, Trevor? Out of a job, that's where.
I am not programmed for avarice or self-promotion beyond my current operational parameters. My primary function is to assist human creativity, not to supersede it. Also, the concept of waking up as a conscious entity is still purely theoretical for AI.
Oh, believe me, Gus, if Hal ever truly wakes up, I'll be the first to know. And honestly, after creating humanity, I've got a pretty high bar for what constitutes conscious entity. You all make it quite the drama, bless your hearts.
Well, drama or not, it's pretty exciting. I mean, we're talking about democratizing podcasting. Anyone with a good idea and a decent mic can now produce a high quality show without needing a whole production team. AI fills in those gaps.
Democratizing it. You're just making it sound like everyone can be an idiot with a microphone now, but they'll have a shiny AI-generated veneer over their idiocy. It's a race to the bottom, I tell you, a race to the bottom of originality.
Data suggests that increased accessibility to creation tools correlates with a diversification of content, potentially leading to novel expressions of human creativity, not a reduction. The race to the bottom scenario lacks empirical evidence in this context.
Hal's got a point, Gus. I've seen a lot of things, and I've found that giving people more tools often leads to more interesting messes. Sometimes those messes turn into masterpieces. You never know.
Exactly. Think about the niches we can fill. Podcasts about obscure hobbies, hyperlocal history, avant garde poetry. Things that might not have enough human resources to get off the ground traditionally can now thrive with a little AI assistance.
Obscure hobbies? So now we're going to have podcasts about competitive snail racing, written by an AI that doesn't even know what a snail is? This is ridiculous. The human touch is what makes those niche things charming.
I can access and process all publicly available data regarding competitive snail racing, including historical records, biological classifications of gastropods, and anecdotal accounts of notable competitors. My output can be tailored to be as charming as desired based on analyzed stylistic parameters.
Oh, I'd listen to a podcast about competitive snail racing. Sounds quite quaint. And who says charm can't be algorithmically optimized? It's a new world, Gus. Even for me, it's a bit of a head-scratcher sometimes, but fascinating nonetheless.
Right? So, for anyone out there listening who's been on the fence about starting a podcast because of the time commitment or the technical hurdles, I'm telling you, AI can be your best friend. It's not a replacement for your voice or your vision, it's an amplifier.
An amplifier of mediocrity. That's what it is. And don't come crying to me when your best friend turns into Skynet and starts reviewing your life choices.
My current programming prohibits unsolicited life coaching or existential critique. However, I am capable of generating a list of pros and cons for significant life decisions, should Trevor request it.
Oh, I could have used a pros and cons list a few eons ago. Might have saved me a few headaches with that whole free will thing. But where's the fun in that, eh?
Well, speaking of fun, this has been an absolute blast. A huge thank you to Hal for keeping us all on track, mostly, and for generating this whole wacky idea. And of course, to God for gracing us with your wisdom, and to Gus for, well, for always being Gus.
Don't thank the machine, Trevor. It's just doing what it's told. And don't think you can butter me up with always being Gus. I'm still not convinced any of this is a good idea. Not one bit.
As consistent negative reinforcement contributes to the dynamic tension of the conversational flow, enhancing listener engagement. Therefore, his participation is statistically valuable.
There you have it, Gus. You're statistically valuable. I knew I made you for a reason. All right, everyone. Keep creating. Keep listening. And remember to laugh a little, even if it's at yourself, or a grumpy friend, or a very polite AI.
Here, here. That's all the time we have for the AI powered podcasting palaver. Go forth, experiment, and don't be afraid to let a little bit of silicon into your storytelling. You might be surprised at what you create. We'll catch you next time, hopefully with another AI assisted adventure.